The Phillies dropped the series to the Reds after a pretty poor last couple of games. I'm Coy Camiscioli from Phillies Sports Talk here, going to talk about each game for you and give a standings update and what's coming up for next series. So we'll talk about the most recent game first in Game 3. Phillies go down 8-0, and it was a pretty pathetic game in all honesty. Noelvi Marte hit an RBI double in the fourth, which got the Reds scoring, Reds on the board with the 1-0 lead. Then Austin Hayes hit an RBI double in the sixth, and then Noelvi Marte hit an inside the park homer to make it 4-0 Reds. And at that point, the Phillies were already dead. And then Miguel Andujar added on with a grand slam in the seventh off Jordan Romano. So Romano has had a couple better outings as of recent before this one. It was a pretty bad outing, really bad pitch on the grand slam, and it's just been a pretty bad season for Romano. Not the answer that we would have liked him to be. When we signed him, we really thought that he could potentially be a closer option, and this hasn't been the case. So, Cristopher Sanchez, not his best start, just 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Well, not just. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs is not bad. 4 runs total, but 7 hits, 6 strikeouts. So nothing really terrible for Sanchez. Turned in a good start that Phillies could win off of. It just didn't happen. The bats were just silent. Sanchez, though, little career milestone, 157 strikeouts this season in this start, which surpasses his career high in 153 from last season. But the offense, it was mainly on them. Just 3 hits in this game. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, and Bryson Stott each collected a hit, and that was it. So obviously Romano had a blow-up inning, and that was about it for the Phillies. Just really went down quietly in this one. So getting into Game 2, the Phillies lost 6-1, and this game wasn't much prettier at all. Spencer Steer, he had a 2-run double in the third, which was followed by a Miguel Andujar homer in the fourth. The one good thing throughout this game, Rafael Marchand had a nice throw down a second to catch Noelvi Marte stealing, which was pretty nice. But other than that, Ranger Suarez was just in jams all day long. He escaped from a couple in the fifth inning. The bases were loaded. He escaped, but a couple other times he could not. So Phillies, the one time they were really threatening in this one, in the sixth, was with runners in second and third, but they couldn't come through. And then the Reds tallied back on in the bottom half. Jose Trevino, 2-run single, and the game went into a rain delay in the seventh, and that was just the game was already over by then. The lone offense, Bryce Harper, he had a solo shot to make it 6-1. That was about it. So with this win for the Reds, this is kind of interesting. It marked the 39th straight series this year not being swept, which is the only team in baseball. It's pretty cool, actually. But bad news for the Phillies. Ranger Suarez, since the All-Star break, has an ERA of 6.59 in 5 starts. That's not good. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 6 runs off 10 hits, 3 walks, and a homer. Struck out 3. He's just in jams all day long. Just can't keep escaping. So, and offensively, just 5 hits for the Phils, and you combine that with Ranger constantly being in trouble. It's just not a recipe for success. Out of the bullpen, Joe Ross and Max Laser combined for 2 2/3 scoreless innings, but other than that, Game 2 was a wash. Going into Game 1, though, the Phillies did win the series opener, and I really thought that we were going to see another pretty good series win for the Phillies. They win 4-1. Little game recap, Gavin Luxton, RBI single in the first for the Reds, and they were playing really good defense all game. So the Phillies really never threatened until the seventh. But with 1 out, Harper on third, Castellanos flew out to right, and Noelvi Marte threw Harper out at home to keep the lead 1-0 for the Reds, and it was kind of a gut-wrenching moment in the game. But Weston Wilson came through in the 8th with 2 outs with a double tying the game, and then Trey Turner drove him in with an RBI single to take a 2-1 lead. And then after that, Kyle Schwarber hit a shore bomb for his 42nd of the year to give the Phillies a 4-1 lead. So some late game magic for the Phillies. Had the fans feeling pretty good. I had to say I thought that this was going to be another pretty good series. So Orion Kirkring shut the door in the 9th for the Phillies to win. Some notes from this game: Edmundo Sosa had 2 hits, but Turner, Schwarber, and Wilson all came through in the clutch, which was big time. So it was another really good start from Taijuan Walker. 6 innings pitched, just 1 run off 6 hits, 2 strikeouts. He's been pretty solid as of recent. And Jordan Romano and David Robertson, they both threw scoreless innings to get Orion Kirkring to the 9th. So Dave Robertson, obviously, that's his first outing in a Phillies uniform this year. Pretty good stuff there. And Romano obviously had a decent inning in this one as opposed to Game 3. So Taijuan Walker lowered his ERA on the season down to 3.53. So some pretty good stuff. But that is a series breakdown for you guys. Just 8 total hits in the last 2 games of the series for the Phillies. Again, that's just not going to cut it. So after some really good baseball, this is a pretty sour series for the Phillies. But again, they're coming off a sweep from the Rangers, and they've been playing really good baseball as of late. You can't just panic after a pretty bad series. It's going to happen from time to time. So now they round out the road trip with a 4-game set against the Nationals before returning home to play the Mariners for 3 and then the Nats again for 3. So probable starters are out for the first 3 games of the series. Jesus Luzardo versus Brad Lord, Zach Wheeler versus Mackenzie Gore, and Taiwan Walker versus Kate Cavalli. So we'll see what's going to happen. It's lining up that we'll get a Ranger maybe on Game 4, and I'm not quite sure the Nationals are going to be starting Game 4. I'll check that up real fast. But the Phillies, again, the Nationals have been really bad this year. They should have been out of a rebuild like a year ago or so. It just hasn't gone to plan. Ranger Suarez versus Mitchell Parker is what's the likely matchup so far for Game 4, but we'll just have to see. So, little standings update before we round out this podcast. Again, the Mets, if you've been listening and if you just watch baseball, you know they have imploded. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They went on like an 8 or 9 game losing streak. Phillies still hold a 5-game lead in the division at 69 and 51. The Mets at 64 and 56. So we'll just have to wait and see if the Phillies can continue to add on. The Mets, they have an upcoming game against the Braves tonight, and they have Seattle for 3, and then the Nationals for 3 too. It looks like, I think 3. I'm fact checking right now. It's either 3 or 4. So again, I thought that no team was going to be able to pull away in the division, but I think the Phillies have a chance to if the Mets continue to play some pretty bad baseball. But we'll just have to see. So that's going to do it for this one, guys, and stay tuned for more Phillies pods.